everyone! Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Okay, so it's a new year, and I know I've been gone for several months. I apologize for that. Obviously, I kind of went MIA and went in the dark, and I'll get into that, but I do feel that you guys deserve an update as to what's been going on in my life for the remainder of what was 24. Hopefully give some insight and goals going into 2025. First and foremost, you know that I have this bus. Well, said bus started to have some mechanical problems, and at the moment finances were not doing good. I really had to just buckle down and focus on working and trying to make some more money. The last video that you guys saw was me pretty much finishing gutting out the bus, and the next phase was going to be to start insulating and prepping to go through the build out phase. Obviously I'm having to support raise for this ministry goal with the bus, so I had to put the bus on hold for the time being. Well, I was gonna try and get some coffee, but Starbucks said it was gonna be about a 30-minute wait, and I ain't waiting that long for Starbucks coffee. Unfortunately, SoCo was closed, so guess I'll just go in Chick-fil-A instead. Took me all of 2 minutes. Got their iced peppermint coffee. It's okay. Definitely would prefer SoCo. You get what you get. It's New Year's. Also, I should mention that I did reach signature status for 2025. I don't know if I have a problem or if I'm just dedicated. Probably a little bit of both. So throughout the rest of the summer, I actually went on quite a few trips. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't vlog any of these trips, because there were some pretty cool things that happened. I got the opportunity to take my dad to a Chelsea soccer game. Chelsea is a team that plays in the Premier League in England. They were doing a US tour, and they were playing Club America in Atlanta, which isn't too far from where we live, and they were playing around the same time as my dad's birthday. Yeah, I decided to treat my dad for his birthday, and we took a little trip to Atlanta, and it was just a really good trip. Chelsea ended up winning. After that, I ended up getting invited on a beach trip with my friends Harrison and Morgan. We went to Orange Beach, had a good time for the most part, except for the fact that I got stung by a stingray. That wasn't necessarily on my bucket list, and I definitely don't recommend, but hey, now I can say I've been stung by a stingray, I guess.
You got stung by a stingray and you're half dead.
I also got to go to my friends Avery and Megan's wedding in Texas.
Avery, you may kiss your bride.
Avery and Megan were backpacking guides with me in New Mexico. So yeah, me and a few of the other guides booked an Airbnb and went to go celebrate the wedding. It was just really good to be able to celebrate their wedding and catch up with a lot of friends that I haven't seen in quite a while. And then I finished up the summer going on a little kayaking and paddleboarding trip with a lot of the young adults group. Life can be pretty stressful and busy in these years of life. So just to be able to have that opportunity to get together with them, do something fun in the outdoors as a group. Yeah, it was a fun trip. After the summer would mark the beginning of many hardships and what would be a very challenging season for me. I had to deal with some heartbreak and some family situations that honestly I don't want to go into all the details about. But in the midst of this season, there were some high moments. I did go to a Crowder concert. It was outdoors. We did get rained on quite a bit. I also got another tattoo. And then I had another really special moment getting to take my sister to a 21 Pilots concert for her birthday. 21 Pilots is a band that me and my sister Mackenzie have followed for a really long time. They've honestly been very therapeutic and have helped both of us through a lot of rough moments in our life. Honestly, it was fitting with the season that I was in to be able to get to go and see my favorite band. such a huge fan of their work. I've actually seen them 3 times now, but this was the first time my sister was gonna get to see them live. And so to be able to celebrate her birthday, getting to watch our favorite band perform live was such a special moment.
Gotta ask, do you have one more left in you?
That they're able to just convey in their songs the things that I honestly struggle with mentally. It's just a band that I've deeply related to in my life. They've been with me through some highs and some lows. Even though I had some high moments, the hardships would still continue. Soon after my dog Yogi died, knowing all the hardships that I was dealing with, I was shocked to wake up to that, but also was not surprised because of the season that I felt I was in. Even though I didn't expect to lose my dog, I was also not surprised that I was having to face another hardship. With all the different things that I was having to deal with, all the challenges and hardships, it really began to take a toll on me mentally. That toll was obvious. I am not very good at hiding my emotions. I wear my heart on my sleeve. People in the church saw that and recognized it. During this time frame, I was actually asked to step down from being a leader in students. I don't hold any grudges. I understand where they were coming from and why they wanted me to take a step back. But whenever it first initially happened, I can't say that I wasn't really frustrated and angry about the situation. Not particularly at anybody other than myself, really. If I'm being vulnerable and honest with where I was at, I was angry at God. I was angry at myself because I was trying my best to still pursue God, still pursue ministry, and do the things that I knew to do. It kind of felt like every which way I turned, I was being punished. And I know that's not the case. I know God was not punishing me, didn't handle things in the best of ways. So at this moment, I was at a very low place in my life, so much so that I had really given up on any goals or visions that I've felt God has given me over the years. Specifically, the bus ministry was like so far from anything I wanted to even focus or think about. I even put the bus up on Facebook Marketplace and was essentially saying to God, like, I don't care what happens with this bus. I wasn't necessarily saying that I would sell it. It was almost like this act of surrender for me to just put it in God's hands and release control and just say, okay, God, if you want the bus gone, if I've been trying to follow my own path and do my own thing and this isn't what you want for me, then I release it to you. If that means that someone else buys the bus, then so be it. On top of it being an act of surrender, I also was just dealing a lot internally with feeling like I had become too much of the bus guy. Felt like that's really what I had become known as in my local community. Anytime someone would, come up and strike a conversation with me, it was always asking about the bus. How's the bus coming along? And I always felt a little bit frustrated with the fact that I haven't made a whole lot of progress on the bus, and a part of me felt like I had to give an answer, especially considering that people have been supporting and financially giving of themselves to, support this project. It was just an added stress on my shoulders and something I felt like I had to give an answer for. On top of that, I wanted to take a step back from the bus, in a way show people that I am more than just the bus guy. The whole point of the bus was honestly just a tool to be able to use for ministry. I didn't want to be known as this guy who just wanted to get a bus, build it out, and travel around and just do my own fun thing, and that it didn't matter if it was the bus or my car or whatever it was. My heart was for telling people about the love of Jesus. The bus was just a tool that would allow me to go and travel and do that. I wanted people to know my heart and know that aside from whether I'm doing the bus or not, that my heart is still for ministry, my heart is still for sharing the love of Jesus, regardless of how that looks. There is more to Zach Tress than the guy who travels in a bus. And so yeah, for me, it was an act of surrender and also a chance to take a step back and show people that I'm not consumed with just some idea of chasing a dream for myself and trying to build up my own kingdom. I wanted to allow space for God to shift some things if needed be, and show people that I'm willing to release this idea of the bus in pursuit of whatever God has for me. But if I'm being honest, with all the things that I was dealing with, both internally and externally, I was, like I said, in this low place to where ministry was not at the forefront of my mind. In a lot of ways, I'd given up on a lot of the dreams and visions that God has shown me over the years. I spent the latter half of this year, honestly, just focused on work, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. Honestly, I felt like I was entering into a season where I needed to find new rhythms. Whatever the reason was, there were a lot of things that were no longer a part of my life, and I had to find new patterns and new rhythms. I started getting more involved with soccer again, which I had kind of put on the back burner, support a lot of the players that are actually involved in my soccer small group. I think that's one of the things God's really allowed me to just step into in this season, is to develop those connections and relationships, to support them and show them that they do have somebody that cares for them enough to show up to the games and cheer them on. And honestly, I've seen the fruit of taking that time to invest into those guys and just seeing the small transformations that are happening in their lives as we continue to do the soccer small group and soccer ministry. I feel I can see that it's making a difference in their lives. And then most of all, I felt like a lot of the things that were being stripped out of my life was an opportunity, and I don't know, I guess in a way a wake-up call for me to focus more on my relationship with God. Not that I wasn't pursuing Him before, but I think sometimes we can just get our priorities a little bit out of whack, just kind of lose some of the meaning and purpose of why we're doing what we're doing. Kind of felt like this was a season and a time for me to just reset and recenter my focus and just come back in alignment with simply pursuing God rather than the things that I can do for God. So it's really just been a time to slow down and just focus. But as we all know, the enemy does not like that, and of course he tried to throw me another curveball. And actually on Thanksgiving Day, on the way to my mom's, I got in a car wreck. Essentially the car in front of me slammed on its brakes in the middle of the highway. I had to slam on my brakes, and the truck behind me, I guess, wasn't paying attention, rear-ended me. I hit the car in front of me. When I hit the car in front of me, it bounced me over into the left lane. There was oncoming traffic. Without even really thinking, I just had to make a reaction, put my foot on the gas to get around the vehicle in front of me to avoid the oncoming traffic and avoid a head-on collision. Then I had to be rushed in the ambulance so they could, check me out. Thankfully didn't have any serious injuries, was just a little bit whiplashed and just shook up from the experience. And I did have my brother there at the hospital to, just be there for me, comfort me, help me to, have the right perspectives. So I'm thankful to him for being there. And I think one of the big things I was having to adjust was just my response to the hardships that I was facing. So I do think I handled the car wreck incident a lot better than the previous hardships. That brings me to my next point. The very next day, I was checking my email. I got this email from an organization called Caleb Would Go, where I had applied for this grant for the bus ministry, and I had done this like several months ago. This email was essentially telling me that I had received a grant of over $2,000 to go towards the bus ministry. Honestly, I had completely forgotten that I had applied for this grant because I had done it like at the beginning of the year. So upon reflecting on that, the attitude adjustment and my response to the hardship of this car wreck, which is an unfortunate thing I had to deal with, and the headache of all the insurance filing and all those different things. But in that moment of just trying to have a positive attitude, getting this email about this grant that I was receiving, for me, felt like God's confirmation telling me that I wasn't supposed to sell the bus. During this whole time of having it up on Facebook Marketplace, hardly any traction, nobody wanting to buy it really. Again, I didn't know whether or not I was supposed to sell it or not, but I just wanted to leave it in God's hands. Even though it's been hard, and even though I haven't seen things go the way I'd like to or hoped to have seen it happen, and it's been a much longer process than I anticipated, this was just a reminder to me that He's still in it. He's still working, He's still providing. And for me, it was this encouragement to keep pressing in, being faithful to do the things that you know to do, put in the work that you can, and just trust the rest in God's hands. Release the timeline, let go of all the pressures from what everyone else thinks and feeling like I had to have an answer to everybody, but just truly trusting that God is still working. God gave me this vision, and even though I don't have all the puzzle pieces and it doesn't always make sense and it doesn't always line up the way I would like to or how I thought it would, He's still in it. So yeah, I feel like I've ended the year on a much better note. Like I said, I know I went MIA for several months as I was navigating all these different things I was dealing with, but the holidays were good. I did get to go and still celebrate Thanksgiving with my mom. Then we had Christmas, and then as you saw last night, went and celebrated New Year's with my buddy Samuel, who I do a lot of work with. He was throwing a little get together, and so yeah, it was good just getting to celebrate the new year. My one word that I want to focus on for 2025, I believe, is forward. With everything that I've been seeing happen in my life over the past several months and the lessons that I'm learning, the hardships I've had to face, I think the recurring theme that I've had to continue to come back to is to just keep going forward, to keep pressing in, even though it's difficult at times, even though it doesn't make sense at times, even though there's a lot of moments that I wanted to give up. I knew that giving up was not an option. When the world was throwing all these curveballs at me, the one thing that God kept bringing me back to is just keep moving forward. And some days that felt like barely being able to take a step. Some days were better than others. But as I go into 2025, that I believe is my one word, and the thing that I'm wanting to be expectant for and hopeful for as I continue to go forward. God is going to continue to be faithful. God is going to continue to open doors. Although I face challenges, although I face disappointment, I can keep going forward and trust that He's with me. Okay guys, so that pretty much updates you on 2024 and gives you a little bit of insight into 2025. Obviously, I can't say for sure what the year has to hold, but I want to be hopeful and expectant for what this year has to bring, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Alright guys, see you on the next one.